As pleasant as it is to see the influence of past Spider-Man games and Spider-Man PS4 experiences with a mix of fun familiarity and novel spectacle, when comparing Spider-Man PS4 to the classic Spider-Man 2, what I find most interesting is the ways in which these games are chalk to cheese, polar opposites to each other in a variety of different spectrums. For me, nothing illustrates the stark contrast between these two games more than their swinging and general movement systems. While I see value in both systems, particularly in how one's strengths is the other's weaknesses and vice versa, I definitely prefer one over the other. When comparing the two, I like to refer to Spider-Man PS4's system as the smooth system and Spider-Man 2's system as the control system. Now, the strengths of the smooth system are obvious. The wall running is fast and less finicky than the control systems, there's no fall damage, it's the most cinematic and visually appealing swinging system of any Spider-Man game to date, momentum is easy to gain and maintain, jumping feels nice and weighty, and the ability to dive down at the press of a button is something I miss when I go back to play the PS2 game. But in making such a smooth system where you rarely lose momentum and regaining it is so easy, this momentum doesn't feel earned, like the game is playing itself. The smooth system makes me feel confined, unable to push myself by reacting to my situation in an attempt to try and gain and maintain as much momentum as possible. It feels like the game is doing that for me, lacking room for individual style and creativity. And while the camera controls and animations of the swinging system make it very cinematic and visually appealing, it also makes swinging accurately very difficult. This is most frustrating and most showcased in the drone missions, which require you to swing accurately following a very specific path, which I find myself fighting against the system to try to do. And while wall running is now much faster, less finicky, and more visually appealing, the fact that I can't use it to gain speed and never need to use it to maintain it means that outside of a few select missions, I never use it. I don't want to use it. As great as the weightiness of the smooth system jump feels, I find the lightness of the control system to me conveys a greater sense of power and grace, making jumping such heights seem more like a breeze, aided by the control system's more zoomed out camera. Despite the fact that I initially missed the ability to jump in the early game, by the time that I unlocked it, I found that it was quite useless compared to the rest of the very linear movement, which is likely why it's an upgrade towards the end of the game rather than being a default ability, in order to help players more easily adjust to the new system. I find the ability to dive down to also be wasted. Given how difficult it is to swing accurately, the lack of freedom, and ultimately the speed cap, I simply don't have a use for it. This could have been a potentially great feature in the control system with its more zoomed out camera, but in this system it just isn't useful. Finally, I find the 3 jump cycles when swinging in the smooth system to be repetitive and further reminding me of how I'm in a confined system. The control system uses a simple jump since it's all that's needed, and it feels much more natural and real. And flashy air maneuvers are optional, feeling again more real and in my control, while the default unnecessary flashy maneuvers I have no control over feel artificial and fake. Now, the control system isn't without its own weaknesses, some of which we discussed in contrast with the strengths of the smooth system. The most glaring weakness to me is the inconsistency of jumping up rather than jumping forward even when holding down R2, which really shouldn't be a problem. Other little issues that can ruin your flow include random extensions on buildings sticking out, which is as much a well-designed problem as it is a movement problem, with the buildings in Spider-Man 4 not having these extensions, as well as stairwells which the smooth system breezes through, which is one example where I think the more automatic and locked-in aspect of the smooth system is a positive, much like parkouring on vehicles and walking on edges like rail. But even with these issues, I still prefer the control system overall. I like being in control. I like the challenge of trying to swing accurately, trying to plan where I'm going to land and to react accordingly when the situation arises. I like it when I find a way to do something and I hit the mark, and when I don't, it only makes those times when I do make the mark even better. Instead of being limited by the game system, my only limitations are my own ability. As cinematic and visually appealing as Spider-Man 4's swinging system is, once I get over the spectacle of it, I lose all interest. But every time I come back to Spider-Man 2, there's always something more for me. More opportunities and moments to fling myself higher and faster than I have before. more opportunities to just clear a hurdle, more ways to find a way to travel smoother for longer than I have before. Instead of feeling limited by the game, I feel like I have the freedom to express and to try and find new ways of doing things, to push myself and to push my ability. That's what makes this swinging system so much fun even after all these years. And while the very cinematic and visually appealing aspects of the new game are very impressive, I'm not sure that they'll age that well once another game comes out which tops its ability to look flashy. There's always a higher ceiling, and there's always more moments where I did that. Not the game, where I. G'day all you nose-bleeding goofy goobers. Ow, I just hurt my foot. G'day all you nose-bleeding goofy goobers out here, out there. Diction here. Hey Vsauce, Diction here, and thank you guys so much for watching. I think this is the part of the video where I'm supposed to tell you to like and comment and subscribe and share and all that jazz. You like jazz? But you know, do what you want, either way. Just a nice friendly reminder because I've got to make a hustle out of this somehow. But thank you guys for watching. This is actually part of a project that I did with the channel known as Living Fire Gaming. I'm not making content on that channel anymore because I wanted to focus on doing my own thing, but definitely check them out. I love Andrew and Suki and Jacob to bits. Me and Andrew in particular really bounce off really well together, so we ended up doing some podcasts and stuff like that. I think we did one, we were doing like an interview where I was just introducing myself to the channel, and we started having fun, and at some point we realized we stopped doing the interview and just started having a conversation at one point, didn't we? So we decided to make that into a podcast, episode 0, I guess. We had a good laugh there. We also did another podcast where we talked about Avengers Endgame and what we thought about that, so definitely give that a watch. And definitely check out the videos that this is from, or the video, and there's a few videos that I did with the Spider-Man playthrough where I did some commentary. I'd have the links in the description for that. Definitely check out the rest of the content on Living Fire Gaming by Andrew and Suki and Jacob. It's some really nice, you know, wholesome Christian content. There's also one episode on, I did the first episode of a commentary playthrough of the Spider-Man 2 on this channel. You can check that out. I think I did a better job on the ones for Living Fire Gaming, but you know, either way, just do what you want. Thank you to everyone who came for the more, you know, the wholesome live action, talking to the camera, having something nice, wholesome to say thing. There definitely will be some more videos of that. And thank you to everyone who has subbed after the autism memes video where I just talked about how I take the memes and just, you know, make self-depreciating jokes and get in on it, and how that, you know, unintentionally changes people's perception of my condition, and I'm able to, you know, change people's mind, you know, change my mind. But thank you guys so much. The response that I got from that was so awesome. Like, I really had a lot of fun making that video, and to see the response that it got. And one person in particular said that they were having a really depressing day, but finding the video on Reddit and having a watch, and that I made them laugh every 2 seconds, and that it's really nice knowing that after someone had a really crappy day, that I was able to, that my video made their day. So that just makes the sweet thing just 10 times sweeter. So thank you everyone who subbed from that. It's really great knowing that people liked what I had to say, appreciated my perspective, and really enjoyed the video. So there will be some more wholesome stuff coming out along the way. And also some more edgy, humorous stuff, you know, balanced as all things should be. Until then, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember that I love you, God loves you, God bless. Peace out.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Diction. I'm a Christian on a mission, and it's with conviction. I stay in the claim that the savior of our race, Jesus is his name and his game is grace. Hey, how you doing? My name is Diction. I'm a Christian on a mission, and it's with conviction. I stay in the claim that the savior of our race, Jesus is his name and his game is grace.